Hello, this is Jonas from the Solution Center. We're going to show you some basic Python Redfish scripts today. And we've got a few prepared in here. They've been in white papers previously, and I've updated some of them for this series so that they'll be a little bit more interesting. To do this, first of all, you can just have a quick look at the basic one, just to get the power state of a server. In here we have done some imports. I've actually ignored warnings, as you can see on top, because I don't want them in this case. They generate too much extra output. And from here we basically just access a URI on the server. And I'm going to show, actually, since we're just picking out the power state, I'm actually going to show you what is included, what is returned from the server by outputting the entire data, the return message. So let's do that now. We execute the script, and you'll see the output that we actually get back from it. We're picking out only a very, very simple part of it, just the power state, but you'll see that there's quite a lot in here, information about quite a lot on the server, specs as well as power states, etc., different things you can do with it. So actually, let me open up the web page so we can actually see it then. In the GUI, so to speak, in the web browser. When we access the top level, which is the IP of the iDRAC, and then /redfish/version1, you get this top level menu. And in this case, we want to go down into the submenu, which is in the systems, and the system is embedded, and have a look at what's in there. It's a little bit more detailed there. So we drill down a little bit, and once we do that, we have to authenticate. The top level is you don't need to authenticate for the top level, but once you drill down, you'll need to do that. As you can see here, we have quite a lot of information included. We are going to use other scripts to pull that out later on, or to use that. But in this case, we're looking for just the power state. Let's just search for that, actually. All right, and there you go. So power state is currently on, and that's the only one we're going to pull out. Let's go back to the script and have a look at that there and actually execute it. We can actually go back then and take away the comment out section that I had, and then remove the last data print and kick that off. And there you go. Power state is on. So now let's just have a look at a different example. We'll just pull out the event log from a server, which is also very easy. It's just a matter of the URI that you access in order to get the information you want. And since you can browse through it in your web browser, it's quite easy to find out what sections are in there and what you need to pull out. So we execute the get event log script, and in here we've basically listed up the entries that are in there. Not too much, but we've got a few log entries. And if you look at the actual script, you can see here what the URI is that we are accessing. In this case, it's managers, not systems. It's managers and then iDRAC embedded. So we'll go and then check the fan status. So in this case, we do a little bit more detail. We actually go in and first of all, we pull in the information about cooled by, which lists up all the different fans in a system. And once we have that, we're going to query them one by one. So we actually do multiple queries in here to get all the information out. So if you look at it here, you can see the cooled by section. And it's cooled by all these fans. And if we then take that, we can just pick one of the entries in there and directly check that, and you can get the fan information. This is what's so nice with a web API. You just browse through it. So now we query the first fan in the system. You can see in here how fast it's spinning. And what we're going to do is then we're going to start querying each of the fans and get the information for all of them. As always, we just specify the iDRAC address, the username and the password, and it'll list these up. I sped this up a little bit so we don't have to wait for it. Since it does multiple queries, it takes a little bit longer time. So one new rack server, that's how many fans you got in it. It's quite a few. Let's actually try this against another box that is sitting in a chassis. You can actually get the chassis fans. This is an FC630 sitting in an FX2 chassis. And since we pass through the information of the chassis into the server, it's possible to query the server and get information about the chassis fans, which is what we're seeing here right now. We can also do this against multiple servers. So for example, if you want to get the health status for a few servers, maybe you have a list of servers you care about and you want to get the information for them, it's possible for you to do that just by, in this case, we're doing it very simple, just running a for loop. So let's have a look at the multi-server status script. For this one, we're just pulling out the server health status, and we take a file as the input, and the file name would contain then the IP addresses of the iDRACs that we want to query. So we just create that now. We create a list of iDRACs. We enter in the two systems that we are currently using for our demonstration. And then we feed that into the script. This requires, of course, that you have the same authentication on both or on all systems in that list, since it will use root Calvin in this case for all of them. And there you go. It shows you which system has what health status. We can also do power actions, so we can power things on and off, obviously. In this case, we are going to, first of all, pull out the information in regard to what the server can do. So you have certain power actions that are available to a system, and then we let the user pick which one they want to use. So let's go and check this. We're actually just going to query the system on the same level we had before. Let's see if we can get back to that. So this is the systems embedded. There you go. There you have the actions that are available. So we query it first. The script will query the server, get those actions that are available, and then it'll present those to the user and let the user pick. Let's try that out now. There you got the list. So we can power this off, for example. Just do a force off, and there you go. That's off. We can also set the server to boot from a particular boot target, for example, Pixie, or boot from the SD card, or boot from whatever. And the same thing for the boot is well, basically what we just had for the power options. You can also have for the boot order. So not the boot order, but the boot options in this case. It'll override the boot order. So it will we'll ask the server what options it has for booting, and let the user pick from those. And the list is right here, right? So we've got a few options, and see if we can pull them out and change it. Right now it's set to none. It's not set to boot to anything, so it'll just boot straight off according to the preset boot order. And with this, we can override that. It's very useful if you want to install a server, or if you want to troubleshoot it, or you want to do something else with it. So it could be quite handy. And there we go. And if you compare, you can see side by side that that's exactly the same. We can try to override it with the SD card. And there you go. It's very quick. Right now it's none, and if we update or refresh the page, that has now changed, as expected. These are just a few examples on how you can play with Redfish to make your servers a lot more easier to manage. So good luck with it, and have have fun.